just open my door?
Yeah.
It was unlocked?
No. It was locked.
So you came through that door?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there an extra straw?
In my bag?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's mini session of Tranquil Tea Time. Today's subject is going to be a very largely touchy topic. So before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and set the energy for this learning platform. So for any of you who are coming on and you have questions, comments, or concerns about today's live, give me a minute and I will be with you all. But while we are getting ready to embark on a very touchy subject, again, like I said, I am going to set the mood and the tone for this session because this is a very, very deep and touchy subject. We've had several people on Facebook. Y'all know a lot of people are very catty and like to go back and forth. So again, this is my personal opinion. This is from my own personal experience. This is not from a book. This is not me just trying to bark something or talk something out of my ass. And I will be speaking from a religious point of being initiated and also a self-initiated perspective. So I will be going over both aspects of this whole back and forth. And again, as I've said before, my platform is a place and space of peace, love, growth, inspiration. You are all welcome to listen to the messages, and please do not become distracted by the messenger. Listen to the message and not the messenger, because that is something that we are definitely hung up on when dealing with this topic. When dealing with this topic, one of our biggest problems here in the spiritual community is titles and a lot of major blockages, okay? So, again, when y'all know I don't speak a lot, so when I speak, hey, it's time to tune in. But this was something that has been going, and honestly, I had to sit back for about 5 years before I ever even wanted to speak or say anything about this whole self-initiation or being traditionally or religiously initiated into something. So before we get into this, I want everybody to, get a good comfortable seat, take a deep breath in your nose, hold for 3 seconds and blow it out as hard as you can. Again, inhale, hold for 3 seconds, and just blow it out. Rotate your neck, roll your shoulders, because I really want those who are looking and searching for answers to listen and receive answers. Don't get distracted by who's saying it. Don't get distracted by how I say it, because I am still a spirit in a human experience. And I am still learning how to talk to people in y'all language, because, I ain't a human. So I'm still learning that whole aspect. It's hard. But we're going to keep this thing going. Hmm?
I was talking to myself.
So we're going to keep this thing going. So, for a lot of people, coming out of Christianity or coming out of their spiritual or their religious traditions, one of the main things that we are hard up to know but are not taught appropriately is, number one, is how to learn self, how to know self, how to deal with self. So if you do not recognize or acknowledge a lot of the things about you as a person, you're already putting some of these ancestor aspects of yourself, of who you are, what you are, why you like some of these things, you're already putting them off to the side. So an example of this is, for some people, you may be attracted to Celtic music. You may be attracted to Norse mythology. You may be attracted to Ifa. You may be attracted to Umbanda. You may be attracted to the 21 Paths. You may be attracted to a lot of these different aspects because number one.
Gonna roll 2 ones.
Thank you, baby.
One for you and one for me.
Okay. Number one, when you guys are getting out of that programming, that mental programming of, okay, I hear what everything is saying. I see what's going on, but it's not adding up over here. That experience is the beginning of a self-awakening, meaning nobody is teaching you these different aspects. Nobody is leading you or feeding you breadcrumbs to show you, hey, there's something off in your environment. You get what I'm saying? Thank you, Sky Daddy. But when you are, and most of the time when you are, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and talk about self-initiated first. Gotcha. Ha. So self-initiated. And this is speaking from a personal, and also the fact that I've been doing this for 15 years and I've had my case studies. So, with my case studies and with myself and with what I've learned and what I've seen is a lot of those of us who are self-initiated, number one, we do not have the privilege of having a lot of family around. And if we do have those family members around, they are sort of bound by their own demons. They are bound by their own hells. They're bound by their own rights, regulations, and purposes, okay? So, literally in this point in time, a lot of us who are spirit-led, we didn't have, grandma and them sit us down and was like, yeah, you got the gift of foresight, or yeah, you got this. No, a lot of us did not have that. A lot of us came from the bloodline of slaves that, they didn't choose to fight back. They chose to become one with massa instead. And with that being said, a lot of the traditions, a lot of the aspects of who our ancestors were, even though they may have chosen to forget them, a lot of those aspects were rooted in their DNA. It was rooted in their DNA, okay? So for those of us here in America, and this is why a lot of times y'all may hear me say, y'all got a big ass identity crisis. People here in America, especially in the Black community, we have a huge identity crisis. Because we are hard up for following everything else and everyone else except for self. So when you are not raised in a community that teaches you to listen to yourself and listen to the spirits, or they are calling it by a different name, and turning it into something that it is not altogether, you are now learning the aspects of something that it is not. But physically, your spirit, because you are spirit led, you are spirit guided, will tell you, no, we know what we're seeing, but that is not, no. And usually for those of us that are really, truly spiritually led, we start presenting these gifts at a young age. So if you go back through the history of yourself, if you go back through the American history of us here in the United States, self-initiation is only frowned upon here in America. And simply for these reasons, if you are looking in Africa, India, or any of these other places where people may have bipolar disorder, dissociative disorder, Alzheimer's, or what we call being mounted in the spirit, they can speak in tongues, they are able to do prophetic dreams, and other places in the world, these are seen as spiritual gurus. These are seen as healers. And it started at birth. There was no shaman there at the bedside of the womb teaching lessons coming out. For some of us, not all, because I'm coming down y'all, you other people's, I'm coming y'all way in a minute. Hold on. And this is why being a Gemini on my end, a healed Gemini, is such a blessing and a lesson, because I see both perspectives of this. So, a big part of why it's such an argument about people being self-initiated. No, you can't. Yes, you can. No, you can't. Yes, you can. Well, you can. Because those of us that do not have the distractions of family, or we cannot allow ourselves to succumb to family BS or choosing a side, because 9 times out of 10, we were considered the black sheep, or we were considered the outsiders. You were set apart for a reason. You were set aside away from the collective for a reason. You were not handed a human experience or a human mentor out the womb for a reason, because the spirit within your DNA, within your blood cells, all came together and decided that they would teach us, versus allowing our teaching to fall into the hands of another tainted or unhealed spirit. So for a lot of us that consider ourselves self-initiated, we do go through traumas. And our traumas are a lot more harsh than those who are born into certain religious practices. Because if you go back and read about being a child of God or gods or whatever you believe in, if you possess these aspects and you know your DNA, you know, okay, for me, for instance, my DNA, I have Norway, Ireland, Scotland, Nigeria, Mali, Benin, Togo. I have all of these in my DNA. But where I am in my life, my mom is a non-denominational pastor. My grandmother is a Kojic mother of the church that is traumatized or unhealed to the point she cannot see anything other than Jesus Christ, which Spirit has already told me is not real. So at this point, a lot of us did not have a human guide. We had Spirit itself. We did not we did not have the privilege of listening to another human on the way out of the womb on how to do this, how to do that, how to do this, how to do that. That is not how we had to learn. We actually had to be born in the shadow realm of living by faith and not by sight, because we who were self-initiated and led by spirit had no choice in what we were doing, except we knew all of that wasn't for us. So we had no choice but to fall in alignment with things that were for us versus things that weren't. Because in our bloodline, in our DNA, resides those 13 generations of ancestors. Again, that if they do not feel there is a worthy spirit to help break generational curses, to help heal the family lineage, to help bring balance and prosperity back, or even to help elevate them, help them get to where they need. If they do not feel that there is a privy human pure enough to do so, they will take hold of that journey themselves. And for you Christians on here, this even goes into Jesus Christ. I don't remember anybody asking him about where he was initiated. I mean, I do know, but when he was born with gifts. He was born inept already. And at no point in time was there was there a whole initiation spouting about. Just saying. There was none of that. And at the end of the day, I do believe it was the same Jesus Christ who was never caught in a church, who was never actually lessoned or taught under a person. I do believe that was the same person who actually went into the synagogue and tore it up. Tore it up. Yeah, fuck this shit. Yeah. Not only that, this was the same person who was at the kickbacks turning water, the healthy nutrient supplement that they tell you, into wine at the kickbacks. I know they wasn't teaching that at home. His mom was like, oh, word. Hey, yo, you. Look what my son can do, son. I know for a fact, I've never seen in no Bible nowhere the lessons of turning water into wine. But yet and still that's possible. So, for those that are very much hard up against people that are self-initiated, or you always want to throw out the fact of you got to be spirit-led, you got to be spirit-led. Well, that's the thing. If you're truly spirit-led, then you know what spirits are for you. And you know what spirits aren't. The whole point of having a Elay or a tribe or a family is because, like they say in church, when one or more in the same, when we are on the same accord, when one or more are gathered, you will agree with me, our experiences, no matter when it happened, no matter how differently it may have happened. You did that, I did that, she did that, he did that. We were all on one accord. Because what I'm doing, you're doing. And nobody was ever present to teach us to do this. How I learned calorie divination wasn't how you learned, but I bet you we get some of the same answers. So, that also goes back to when you are at church. When y'all are in churches and you are in the congregation, it's not even about that. It's about the energy, the connection of I'm connecting to these beings and I feel like I'm at home. And what do you decide to do? They tell you if anybody wants to join the church, come on down. What do you think that is? What do you think that is? You can't just say, oh, I like the church and then go jump on the mother's board. You can't just say, oh, I like the church and then go up in the choir. No. That's not how that works. But if you are spirit-led, then you know you can be at home by yourself, with yourself, for yourself. You see, look, I have a whole shrine here dedicated to moi. I have a whole place and space dedicated to just me, for me, by myself. Because I know where I am in my life. I don't need a building. I don't need all of that. The spirits that I rock with, we be enough. The spirits I rock with, we be more than enough. Because I live that lifestyle. I live this lifestyle. So, as I kept growing up through my spiritual journey, I would cross Babalawos. My very first Babalawo was in St. Louis. I never forget this man because he was just on it. He was on it. He was in there. I loved him. He was awesome. And this Babalawo was very intelligent, very smart, and we were very much in sync until he kept telling me I was too deep. And he gave me the first name, and this is where me continuing to be spirit-led. I was led to Ifa right out the rip. I was led through several different religions. But in the African, for the Black community, I was ultimately led to Ifa. Once I was led to Ifa, I got in contact with this Babalawo, and I was in classes. We was doing good. And then it got to doing the finals and stuff where he would test us. And I had already spoken to him and was like, hey, I'm sort of homeless right now. I don't have a way to get those items for class. Is there anything else that I can do? And he decided to ignore me, whatever the case may be. And ultimately, he attempted to humiliate me. And, was failing me from the class. Cool, whatever. I don't really take it that way. I take it as constructive criticism. So I was like, okay, this is something that is happening to me often. So what do I need to do? So this is my this is my second step on my journey. My first step on my spiritual journey is when I decided to stop being in the church altogether. No more spiritual ministering, no more praise dancing, no more singing, none of that. I stopped doing all of it. No more laying of the hands. I wasn't doing it. No more speaking in tongues. I was not doing it. Until I started having my mental breakdowns. And I literally had to stop myself from being a destructive force. And was like, if I don't get my shit together, I'm going to end up dead. Because what I'm doing is like Conrad said, hurt people. And I was a hurt person that was hurting other people. And it was to the point I was feeling that pain. And I was like, oh my God. Wait. No, I don't want no more. And I had a daughter. I ended up having a little girl. And ultimately, I was like, something is wrong with me. Because what people say to me is not what I'm hearing. I get what you're saying to me. I know what you're saying to me all day. What I'm really hearing ain't what you saying. And it literally took me going through, and with me being a veteran, I've been in the military for 8 years. I have PTSD. So with me being in the military, of course, I went to the VA. That is where my biggest trauma was. Y'all gonna fix me, goddammit. Started going to the VA. And about between 6 and 8 therapists in, my last therapist really sat me down and was like, baby, I'm going to be real with you. We don't know what the hell is wrong with you. You are a high-functioning being. We don't know how you're operating. So we just going to keep giving you these pills.
You need some?
And no. And literally, me being a single mom with my daughter on this spiritual journey, I don't have the church anymore. I don't have family that I'm really connected to because of the generational trauma and abuse. And I am going through this spiritual awakening all by myself with a little girl. So when the doctor finally sat there and told me, we don't know. We just gonna keep giving you these pills. It literally came down to either I'm gonna take these pills and turn into a zombie and risk the chance of losing my daughter, because I had already been on the pills they had given me through the VA, but they were giving me tranquilizers. So I was falling asleep. I would take it one day, and because I was not used to the extreme high dosage they were putting me on, I would sleep for 2 and 3 days with a baby. I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, no. It don't sit right with my soul. I can't do that. Well, ma'am, you're going to be neglectful. Oh, so now I'm being neglectful. So I had to literally choose between myself and myself. My higher self being my child, my lower self being myself. Which one here? So ultimately, I ended up choosing my higher self. Had cut drugs off. Had cut pills off. I've seen too many veterans pass away from suicide because at the end of the day, the pills don't work for us. The voices, it did not stop none of that. It didn't stop none of it. If anything, it intensified being a soldier in the military, because now I have grown a bond with some of these soldiers. I've grown a bond of brotherhood. I've grown this with these soldiers. I've been in the military for 8 years. I still got battle buddies. Look, I got a battle buddy right now. I got 2 battle buddies that were in the military that are Serenity's godmothers. Trust me, you do not want either one of them to run down on you if I can't get to you. Period. So, coming from Christianity, I was stuck in Kansas. Bumfuck Kansas. Fort Riley, Kansas. Where there were no faces like mine. I was a military vet. Me and my husband had just got divorced. I did not have the connection with family, and I was going through hell. And literally, my therapist just said, baby, we don't know what the hell wrong with you, but keep taking them pills and maybe you'll wake up one day. Bitch, did you just quit on me? Okay. Go. So again, this is where I tell you guys, if there is not a fit human being around to guide and nourish the soul properly, spirit will step in on its own and be like, you know what? Move y'all fuckhead asses out the way. We got this. You a fuck up person. You a fuck up person. We got this. Move. Literally. That happens. But if you were actually spirit led and listen to spirit, you would know that. Anywho, guys. So, the first thing that I did on my spiritual journey was the YouTube video that I posted on my YouTube. I took my drop of blood, I put it in the candle, and I said, please help me. Whoever is listening, help me. I don't know where to turn to, so help me. And that is when I ended up going into Orthodox Christianity. Woo! And the church that I found for Orthodox Christianity was in Salem, Kansas. It was literally out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. And I was already in the middle of nowhere. But here is a monastery. And I was the only black woman in this white church. But the peace that I felt from being in this place and space, I felt so at home. I felt so at peace. I had already been going through Catholic Mass with all of my battle buddies in the military because most of my friends were Catholic. So I went to Catholic Mass. All of the screaming and shouting, oh yes, Lord! I grew up in that shit. I can speak tongues backwards, forwards, sha-na-na-na, E. coli, should have bought a Honda and rode your boat, okay? I wanted something different. My spirit said, we've outgrown that. Time to move on, darling. Catholic Mass. Catholic Mass was awesome. Learned all of this shit. Oh, loved it. Moved on. Orthodox Christianity. Now, this is where I had to reconnect energy, my first energy, and it was very traumatizing because my therapist had literally just quit on me and said, we can't do nothing to help you. So now that I am in this Orthodox Christianity church and I feel at home and this lady is teaching me these things and she's showing me how to cover my head, and covering of the head means that you are chosen of the gods. You are a blessed one of the gods. So it made sense because I used to see a lot of people in my church wearing head wraps or they would wear the big hats. Cool. So already I started wrapping my head already because my spirit said, wrap your head. Wrap your head. Cool. I know why I'm wrapping my head. I literally had to sit down with this priest. And when I asked him about people like me in Orthodox Christianity, that is when he told me himself, I could get in a lot of trouble for telling you this because it goes against the clergy, it goes against the church. But there are actually African black saints. There are African saints. So when you want to join the church, you do not have to join under one of the white saints that we worship. And he literally gave me a website and a complete list of black saints. Again, this is being self-spirit led. Spirit guided. Because that person, had I been hung up on the fact of this is a white man, I wouldn't have been listening to the spirit message was literally telling me, hey, this is the first place on your spiritual journey. Learn who you are here. I would have been hung up on the fact that this is a white man. Oh my God. Just like had I not been listening to what the Babalawo was saying to me when I was in Ifa, when he was literally teaching me all of these things, telling me all of these things. And when me and him got to a certain point in our conversation, I asked him a question and he could not answer. And he literally told me, you have nothing more to learn from me. I can't teach you. And he left me on my own. He left me on my own. Blocked me completely, excommunicatoed. So, again, that was because I was not meant to be raised by a person on that path and journey in my life. I was supposed to be raised by spirit. That is where spirit-led or self-initiation comes into play. When people say, no, I was self-initiated. You were spiritually initiated. You didn't have a human to tell you, hey, go do this, go do this, go do this, because that's what I did. Just like with me, I have godchildren now. We go through our own process, but I cannot tell them what their spirit guides have for them on their journey. That is for them to discover. That is for them. So now that we're coming to that part of being spirit led, I'm going to come down to this tradition part here. And this is where it comes into play. Those of you who do know who you are, do know where you come from. And if you are in America and your grandparents did not come from that place bringing that tradition, you have to accept the fact that somebody on the outside had to speak for you to be adopted into the family because you are not of blood lineage. I love you too, Daddy. And if you do know anything about your heritage or blood lineage, then you would be listening to spirit from jump and not another human experience. We are here going through the experience to confirm that we are on the right track, on the right path. At no point in time does the path from your path should go to somebody else's path. And that's where a lot of this competition and compare with, oh, I was initiated in house of this and this and this and this. But who's in your DNA though, baby? What do all of your ancestors feel about that? Because if you're born here in America, I guarantee you, they not all from Nigeria. They not all from Switzerland. They not all Cherokee. And if you're not doing the appropriate shadow work, your ancestors will tear you apart with daily living. If you are a mixed child that has black and white ancestors, if you do not study the lineage of yourself to find out where these people actually came from, you'll never understand why Maman Brigitte may come to you and you a black girl. You'll be sitting here thinking it's a white woman coming to you, not realizing that, hey, you know that red hair and green eyes and freckles that your granny had? Those Irish traits. You know, Celtic. You didn't know that? Well, I guess you really don't know yourself for yourself. Okay. That is the point of learning yourself for yourself. You cannot cut yourself off by choosing a side. And that's what makes us so powerful as beings. I wish I had somebody there to guide me through. And the beautiful part about that is when I got to the point of listening to spirits clear enough, I wasn't even just listening to spirit. They came through clear in my grandmother's voice. They came through clear in my granddaddy's voice. It's been my Uncle Jeffrey teaching me how to play the guitar and write music. But when you are so hard up for listening or following the human experience, you'll miss all of your ancestors that be talking to you on a daily basis, telling you about who you are, telling you about how beautiful you are, telling you about how powerful you are, showing you all of these different aspects. You're sitting here thinking about, oh my God, I don't know which way to go. And now you got to turn to 33rd Street on Cherokee. Come on now. But you don't want to pay attention to those signs, but you want to pay attention to the mess of somebody else. And truthfully speaking, if spirit has led you to a person, you are supposed to literally learn from that person and move on. Take what you need and move on. You cannot charge your spiritual journey to a godmother or a godfather when they still got their spiritual journey. They still learning. They still growing. And if they're more worried about you, then how are they progressing? Just saying. How are they teaching you to be held accountable for your spiritual journey? When they're trying to hang on to their journey and yours. Do what I say. My spirit told me that don't work that way. I don't demand loyalty that way. I don't demand anything because what's meant for me will be mine regardless. I don't have to throw around the title because at the end of the day, I know for a fact I used to watch my grandmother throw salt over her shoulders and had to study what that meant. Oh, that's what that means. I had to learn about gumbo and okra and learn that it actually came from another continent completely and was brought here. So at the end of the day, my ancestors, my spirits, they may not have existed here long term to teach me, but they elevated to the point to teach me enough to keep them alive and myself alive and others around me alive. Versus a lot of you who may have actually had the privilege to know who you are. You guys had the privilege to be raised in Puerto Rico and bring that here. You've had the privilege to grow up in cities and places that actually encouraged a lot of this activity. That is being religion led. That is being initiated because you have built that family. You all have built that tight bond. But when it all comes down to it, when you are all talking about y'all experiences, if it don't all match up, then everybody must not be on one accord. And if anybody is trying to overtalk anybody else's journey, then they are not on that level to be open to grow and manifest. Because one thing I will never do as a godmother, as a mentor, and my godchildren already know this. I can't tell you what's for you. You got to go through that. I can show you the door. I can make it all glossy. I can kick that bitch open. I can't make you walk through it. That's between you and your ancestors. I can tell you all about what happened, but it ain't no point in me telling you until you are ready. Well, how you know all of this stuff? Why are you going to ask me how do I know it if you're not going to believe in faith? You know it. That's how I know. I know it because you know it. I know it because that's your truth. I operate in truth, and if that is your truth, I'm going to know it. If you are hiding your truth in a shadow, I was born in the shadow realm, and I'm a sin eater, I'm going to know your truth. That's how. Because I've been doing this since I was a child. I didn't like people hugging me as a child. I didn't like people touching me or praying over my head as a child. You get what I'm saying? Exactly. I can bring you to the crossroads. Hell, y'all gonna meet me here anyway. I can only show you the choices and the options. I can't make you choose. And that's the difference between spirit-led and the religion. The religion will make you choose. No, you have to do this Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. And yes, sometimes the religion is good because it teaches you discipline. It teaches you discipline. Stay on this routine. Do it this. It helps you build up the relationship. But then again, that also comes into play with you. If you are living your spiritual journey, if you are living this as a lifestyle, not just as a fashion trend, you can't use this as a pick up and go. You can't use this, oh, well, I'm going to need money. Let me do this ritual and let me do this card special. No, ma'am, no ham, no turkey. Once a month, I open my energy and my crossroad to almost 2,900 souls to be healed and elevated from generational curses every month. I don't do that shit for myself. I'm good. I'm gravy. I have manifested everything I need and want. My baby is good. I'm living my best life. Period. And I'm looking to go buy land, not for myself, but for my tribe. I'm looking out for my tribe because that is my family. Those godchildren are my family. I don't care how old they are. They are my family. That is what spirit has led me to do. And since I've read the history of my ancestors, I've read my great grandmother, I know my great grandfather, I've studied these people. I've had my DNA tested. So now I can put facial markings with expressions and stuff. I can pinpoint because I took years to study myself and learn myself for myself and not allow a human in their human experience to intervene with a religious constraint. Because the more that I learned spiritually, I could hear. And whatever I was hearing, I could inbox anybody in the world and be like, hey, I had a dream about this, and this. What do you think? Really? I had a dream about this, and two. We are on the same wavelength. So therefore, I don't have to badger anybody about who did your initiation, what family you from, how you know this. You confirmed what I already knew, so enough is said. Let's figure out the message and the blessing. So for those that are more up for a religious initiation, it's literally because you want to know your lineage. That is establishing your lineage. That is establishing a discipline. That is literally taking what somebody else's idea and this is what they want. Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the same way you do in the church. Blood in, blood out, gang, gang. You can't join our church. You can't sing in our choir stand. You can't minister to our people until you get baptized in the blood of Jesus. And then they're going to be running your bank account at the ATM every Sunday. They know your Cash App too. Well, we know you got paid that extra bonus. The Bible said 10%. Tithe and offering. And you know it's a problem in the religious part of it because when the pastor don't get paid or y'all the offering don't look right and the offering be looking shitty as fuck, ooh, everybody business finna get spilled on Sunday. Everybody finna get spilled on Sunday. You cheating on your wife, the deacon's board is stealing all the money. Heavenly Father, and if anybody want a blessing, they're gonna put $1,000 to the Build Me Fund. Oh, I'm sorry, the Building Fund. But I didn't say that. But these are also people that don't realize that Spirit initiated them. Spirit told them at a young age, this is wrong. That is wrong. And that was because of the feelings, the emotional traumas and triggers. Usually that happens to us as children. Something happens to us that jolts us from that innocent mindset to that is not right. Or this made me feel something that I do not like feeling, or I cannot process that feeling. And then it happens repeatedly without being explained, without being healed. And now you have to figure it out on your own. So that is why it's such a big drama when people are like, no, you got to be initiated through this. Sweetie, you're only talking about somebody else's idea. You're talking about what somebody else took from somebody somewhere else, how their spirit was led them, and they passed it down. That's it. Because if you're in America, if you're from old school America, not new school America, where they let everybody in, if you was here from the foundations of the earth, your DNA strand, when you get your DNA tested, it will not say indigenous of America. And if it does, that means your ass was already here. Your ancestors were already here. And they were just called blacks or slaves. So at that point, an aspect, that is where a lot of us come into play with having an identity crisis. Because we're trying to identify with one thing when truthfully speaking, America was the dumping pot for the misfits of everywhere else. All the people that they didn't want in their own homelands, they was like, hey, get the fuck out. Go over there to that country. Go do whatever over there. The same way how some of us do with kids that don't agree with you. You tell them to get the fuck out. Go, just, That's sort of what happened. So now you have a whole country of these people. And they've turned everything upside down. But you are more hard up for fighting each other versus realizing, hey, they're having an experience I have not had. They have an experience of family I have not had. That is where the two become one. You finding a tribe that can identify with your soul journey. They can confirm things on your soul journey. That is the point of having that Ile, that family, that rites of initiation, that family. You're starting that lineage over. Because for a lot of us, that lineage was gone. Just like those of us that are spirit-led. You are literally spirit-led to be a guide because there are people that are coming that are going to be going through hell and high water and they're not going to know how. You are the person that are strong enough to do that. And that is why if you are already born into a family of religion and they are very hush-hush, don't do that, don't think it, we don't do none of that. 9 times out of 10 is because somebody done already did some fuck shit and now nobody know how to undo it because that person is passed on. So now it's just falling down the line. And they've chosen to separate from it altogether or find a way to excommunicato it out. It's benefits on both ends because at the end of the day, you all are looking for the same end result. You all are looking for family to be on one accord with. But the whole fact of some people know who their lineage is versus those who don't know their lineage or those who've been adopted into the lineage, you have to realize even if you found a house or an Ile or whatever, whether it be voodoo, hoodoo, or whatever, spirit led you to that place. You still remain spirit led to that place. That was still your journey. Now, whether you choose to stay there or not, that is still your journey. Everybody is not meant to stop in Ifa. Everybody is not meant to stop in voodoo. Everybody is not meant to be a beacon in Wicca. Everybody's not meant to be a conjure person. Hell, for me, I'm going to do it all because that's what's in my DNA to do. I'm going to do what my ancestors asked me to do. If my white ancestors need to be healed of the absolution of what they've done, then I'm going to try and make that happen. Especially if they're coming to me to do it. Now, either I'm going to be a human and be like, fuck you guys, look what you did to my ancestors. Bitch, they already dead. It ain't nothing else that can be done. There's nothing else that can be done. And see, Mom, that's why I was led to you. That's why I was led to you. I reverence people as mother out of respect. But, yeah. That's a respect thing. I respect everybody's knowledge that is higher than myself as wisdom. That's out of respect. I don't owe anybody that. So this whole back and forth of people that can't be self-initiated, as long as I know who my ancestors are and I can speak to them clearly and they can tell me what to do, why to do it, and how to do it, you can't intercede on my spiritual journey unless I allow you to. And at that point in time, I literally have to see you as either you are a spirit guide here sent to teach me something, or this is a lesson and a blessing. Am I going to be distracted from my journey? The whole point of having a family and an Elay. Again, it's like I said, so that everyone can be on the same level to elevate. With my tribe and my godchildren, I have nothing that I want from them except for to heal and break generational curses. Because I've lived a beautiful life from doing so. Other than that, ain't nobody paying no tribe taxes. Ain't nobody paying no initiation fees. Ain't nobody doing none of that shit. My spirit said that's not how that worked genetically. If you knew the lineage. If you were doing it traditionally. That's not how it worked. None of this is supposed to be for money. This is supposed to be for the betterment of the community. So truthfully speaking, those that have turned this religious spiritual journey into a profit, it's already been fucked. Just saying. So stop going back and forth with people because you feel like, they're not giving me their money, so they ain't bona fide. So you mad because I ain't giving you my money? Just so you can say you over me? Thank you, Mom. Thank you. As always. We're going to be on one accord all the time. I will never have anything that I want from you because the only thing I want is for my community to do better, to be greater. So I would never take away from you when I already see you ain't got nothing to take, especially if you coming to me. What I'm going to take from you if you come in here? If anything, if you're the one that needs the spiritual guidance, I should be pouring into you abundantly. Not taking from you and ostracizing you. That's not how this works. That's the difference between religion and spirit. And some of y'all be hanging so hard on to the religion part because this is what you identify with. You're not ready to grow. And that's where your identity crisis with arguing with everybody else and they experience comes into play. You sure can, Miss Cola. That is why you guys are arguing back and forth because apparently there have been some experiences that other people have had and grown to that you just may not be at that level yet. Just like vice versa. Some people may have mastered the art of being a shaman on their own and healing on their own. But when it comes to working as a community and a tribe, they become very dominant and possessive or they tend to fade away. So that is not their cup of tea, but that is what they must overcome. They have to learn to overcome that because spirit will make that a blockage on purpose just so you can man the fuck up. Ding. Just for that. You'll be sitting there, oh my God, I've been doing shadow work. And your godparents are sitting there like, I don't know what to tell you, curse. If you were any type of real mentor or godparent, the very first things your mentors or godparents will teach you, especially when you are really, when you are spirit led, is they will teach you how to heal yourself first. They will teach you how to heal your traumas. They will teach you how to look at yourself in the mirror and deal with your ugly, because that's the worst. Your own worst enemy is yourself, your higher self. If you do not make peace with your higher self, you might as well kiss everything else fucking goodbye. Because this is where all of your ancestors are. This is where they compute to you. This is where your spirits are. And if you are not making peace with these, if you are not making peace, then you will have no ease at all. Especially for a lot of people who have learned the art of magic, blood magic, and then end up what I like to talk about, which is being a turnaround conjurer, meaning that they wanted to be or know so much they've literally altered their purpose and turned it into something that it was never supposed to be. Sort of like how Hollywood does voodoo and hoodoo and Christianity. They make Christianity look awesome, but really when it comes down to it, it was a crusade of blood and murder, and it's still a crusade of blood and murder to this very day. Like that shit. Just like that. And people are so hard up to want to belong somewhere, and we're all going through that identity crisis of wanting to belong. We're all quick to run to the very first thing instead of learning about it. You know that good old thing from Sesame Street that I'm always talking about? Stop, look, and listen, guys. Stop trying to always run into shit. Look at what you're doing and look at where the places this spirit has brought you. What are you learning from the surrounding area? Listen to what is being said, because sometimes you may be caught up on all of this and you're not listening. You may be there supposed to learn. That does not mean you're supposed to join. And that be the problem with a lot of people. They be like, oh yes, this is for me. And then when they get up in there, be like, oh, child, I know you lying. Sacrifice? You want me to do what? So I have to do this because you laid on your car note. But I have to do this for the Elay. Well, the spirit said I'm going to do it. Instead of you listening to your spirit that's clearly telling you, bitch, you know that shit don't sound right. You know that shit don't sound right. I know you know that, we know that, they know that, I know that shit don't sound right. And then a lot of people that are so hard up for getting what you want. Now listen, this is where it also comes into play with this self-initiation and religion initiation. When you decide to stop listening to spirit and you're so focused on that human and what that human is saying, spirit will literally give you everything that you want. And you're going to lose everything that you had in the process because you're going to be focused on somebody else's journey and not your own. You should be looking for people to grow with you, not against you. You should be trying to search for people to lift you up, not take from your foundation. So, again, that is my spiel on self-initiation and traditional, because at the end of the day, you both are looking for the exact same fucking thing. You're looking for a family and a tribe to share spiritual beliefs and practices of growth and development with. That's it. That's it. That's all you are looking for. So whether it was a person like me that showed up and baptized you into my family and into my lineage or not, that is still the end goal. To find a family to heal and grow and become better than what you are now. That is the only difference between self-initiated, meaning you had no family, no friends, no accountable person to guide you appropriately to be who you are supposed to be, versus being born in a tradition. Because yeah, I was born in the church. I was born into all the shits. Once I started studying, had no clue, was born into it, knew why I was doing everything. Been playing with Cardamonte cards with my auntie, thinking that it was solitaire. And it wasn't until I was about 18 years old and got my first Cardamonte book and was like, I know you fucking lying. No, she wasn't. And she continued to teach me. So at the end of the day, that is the only difference. Those who were born with the family versus those who weren't. At the end of the day, you are still looking to rejoin with people that are going to create a community that is going to build, grow, and develop so you all can reach your higher purpose as one. On one wave, one mindset, as one collective. Period. So people that keep trying to, I don't have time to fight against the grain because clearly you're not on my level. Ding. And that's okay. That's perfectly okay. That is A-okay. And a lot of us should learn to be understanding and okay with everybody may not be on that level. Everybody may not be healed enough to rely on the spirits in their head because some of them spirits might sound like they mamas and they mama's still alive. They mama still tell them, you dumb as hell. You still doing this stupid shit. Those voices don't go away. And that's also because they have not really dealt with those shadows yet. And this shit get deeper than just shadow work. Any real shadow worker or healer knows that just the ego, that's just the top. That's just the surface. That's just the reflection. This is way deeper than that. And it definitely ain't gonna happen in no 1 to 3 years either. So again, you guys, that is just my take, my personal experience and opinion as far as being self-initiated versus the religion and tradition. It's literally the fact that y'all are all still looking for a family to identify with. You are still looking for a place and a space to call home. That's it. I really wish y'all would stop that dumb shit. Like, look, y'all finna make me cry. Because there's so many people that are separated by that. They are really out here looking for the lesson and the blessing. And they cannot get the lesson because you guys are too busy throwing off y'all blessings. You're throwing off your titles. When at the end of the day, your title is not going to matter. None of that is going to matter. Your pride and your ego isn't going to matter because at the end of the day, your kids don't eat pride. They all eat food. They eat nourishment. They need supplement. So even as adults, spiritually, you need to be in a place and space where you need to grow. You need to be in a place and space where all of you are elevating. And if you are not in that place and space, y'all still trying to go with this. Well, no, you're this. I'm E5. Yeah. Y'all not ready either way because the only thing y'all arguing about is trying to place to call home. That's the only thing you arguing about. You arguing about a place to call home and to be free to do so. That's the only thing you arguing about. And that's why in my tribe, we don't have that problem. I've already told them, baby, if you want to be a motherfucking Wiccan and you believe that Hogwarts is for you and you are a wizard, let me know when we gonna be there because Tribe of Tranquil Truth are going to be in the house when Guardium Leviosa! Slithering all the way. We're going to be there. I don't care if it's a house christening and you want people to be there at church on Sunday. Just know Mama Oye gonna have her Sunday best hat on. I'm gonna have the biggest hat on with the gloves, girl. And I'm gonna be in my all white. Just know that. I don't care what you are going through or where your journey is taking you. if your journey is telling you, hey, you might want to have a family because you may not be strong enough to go through all of this. That's the only difference between being self-initiated and the house. Y'all both still searching for each other. That's it. We were cut off from a lot of traditions when we were taken from home. So now a lot of us are having or being forced to become self-initiated because our blood, we still here. We still here. Those ancestors are still here. They're not forgotten. We look at them every single day. We make a live. We take a picture. We look in the mirror. You look at your kids. You look at your mom. You look at your dad. They are still here. So, last time, because y'all done made me cry on the live. Now I'm definitely finna go finish this and mind my own damn business. I don't even like half of y'all like that. Y'all know me. I don't say shit for nothing. I mind my damn business. All the time. All the time. I mind my damn business. So, again, that is my take. So, I love you. I love you. I love you all. Thank you for going on this journey with me. If I have offended anybody, I do apologize. This was not an offense. This was, again, my opinion. Opinions are like assholes and everybody got one. I am just the two-headed one that actually has an opinion on this topic because I've been through both ends. I've been through both. So, y'all know my motto. Namaste, you guys, but no, I'm gonna stay over here. Holler.